welcome to the Midnight Graveyard.
Welcome.
This evening, we're going to chat about the 2024 Nosferatu film. Hopefully you had a chance to see it, and hopefully your blood still runs cold. So,
Probably will be spoilers. I mean, it's an old film, but
yes.
we don't know exactly because we don't really script these out. We just talk about them.
So, first things first, Nosferatu 2024 is based on and a remake of other versions, the first one being in 1922, and that was a silent German expressionist film, which is pretty interesting. This was also made to, I guess, be the first representation of Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. So it came from there, and it kind of has given us the modern concepts of Dracula and vampires that we have seen time and time again played out in different ways. But Nosferatu was basically the OG. So
One of the classic horror, right?
Exactly.
It's like one of the ones that the people constantly refer to as like, oh, but that's like the Wolfman and,
Yes.
you know.
And Nosferatu is the first depiction of Dracula that we ever received in film. So that's why it's so impactful and creepy. And honestly, it hasn't really strayed much from then in the various depictions we have today. There have been pieces added and taken away, but a lot of what you get from the original has remained, which is pretty cool. So, tell me, Jay.
Yes.
Tell me about your personal relationship with vampires.
I don't really have a personal relationship with vampires. I think I've always thought they were cool, like a very cool horror, vehicle or trope or whatever. I don't know what to refer to them as exactly.
Monster?
Yeah, sure. Monster works.
Monstrum.
I enjoy like a lot of the there's always very often rather there's history stuff, and I like history quite a bit. So I always thought that was kind of cool, and like how they will sometimes weave that into the story, their impact on history, even because they see things differently because they're around for so long, and they sometimes have more ability to pull strings. It's a very cool concept, but I don't feel like I have a personal relationship.
This is actually titled Interviewed by a Vampire. So, question number 2. Do you have a favorite vampire, like from a movie or show or book, that you personally enjoy? Or an aspect to vampirism?
Gosh. Is Colin Farrell a vampire in what movie is it? Fright Night, maybe? With Anton Yelchin, I think, is in it too. Maybe.
Yeah, is that Fright Night?
I like Anton Yelchin quite a bit.
But I know I can see the scene too. Yeah, it is a vampire. I'm pretty sure that's a version
Colin
of
Farrell
it.
plays like a vampire. So I guess maybe that one, like he was kind of seemed like kind of coolish,
Yeah.
nonchalant or whatever. I don't know. Other than that, was Lost Boys. I don't know that I have like a personal affinity for any of those, but I thought the film was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool vampire movie.
This one, Nosferatu.
No, Lost Boys.
Oh, sorry.
And then Blade, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm a Marvel Comics fan, you know. And he was originally in Spider-Man, or maybe a crossover thing.
Mm.
It might have been his own thing before he showed up in Spider-Man. I'm not sure.
So, Jay's a baby fan. Okay, so tell me about Nosferatu. What did you like? With that as the background of Jay and vampirism,
Right.
what did you enjoy about Nosferatu? What stood out to you as maybe your favorite piece of it?
So some of the things I guess that I enjoyed about Nosferatu were not related to the story itself, but more the artistic elements used to tell the story. I feel like it's a very artistic film. I enjoyed, as far as the story goes, I enjoyed his manipulating things and that sort of quiet, scary power that you got the sense of like anything was possible. But yeah, mainly I would say artistic elements of the cinematography and the score and that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. It and it might be because the story is unsettling, particularly from my perspective, right? It's an unsettling story. So that was good too. But I don't know why I was expecting more of scary and not as unsettling. And so, that threw me off a little bit.
And you never saw the original?
No.
Yeah. I think what I loved most about this one is that it really hung true to a lot of the original elements, that you named too as being a factor in what you enjoyed. That is what was really captured with the 1922 one. And I saw that a very long time ago and loved it. So it's not like it would be normal for me to love silent German expressionist films. But I loved the creepy quality that was captured in that, even though the form was very different. And I feel like you definitely got a lot of that in this one too. And it just really hung true, but
That's
then
cool.
used a lot of the modern technology that we have to make it slightly revamped. So I loved this one.
How did you feel about the story?
Oh, I mean, I love this story though, because it's so, it's creepy. It is, I think I partly forgot how it ended exactly because I've seen so many variations to it in different things, and I've read stuff that has done that, so I wasn't 100% certain that I knew, okay, this is exactly how this one plays out. My brain was kind of confusing things, so I still felt surprised.
Right.
And I loved the way that they did it, and how they built up to that too.
Yeah.
That was just awesome. I love that mix of, and like you said with the history, tying in this occult stuff that was linked to the plague, and the plague really happened, and it spread in this way, and the occult was blamed for a lot of things, also had a lot of followers at different times, most especially when there was a lot of death and difficult things to explain. So yeah, I think it's just I love that.
It was good. It was very good.
how did you feel about, well, okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the sound.
Oh my gosh. I think it was the theater that we were at. I really do. I think that was part of it. I know those sounds are supposed to be jarring anyway, but like, I don't think it's supposed to make your head ring for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? And I'm not just getting old. Like, oh, old man, sit further away from the speakers. It was like the whole theater was shaking.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just too loud and like ear-piercing screams. So they do a phenomenal job in the film of using contrast to elicit emotional response, right? And that's like one of the major things art does for me personally, and that's why I was referring to like the artistic elements, because like that plus the color, the contrast, the lack of color rather, you know, but the contrast that can provide, they use that very well. They use them in concert very well. They use like every way you could sort of imagine. I feel like they got me on. It was, and I don't feel like I got all that often with that stuff, because I feel like I've seen so many that I'm like, yep. I don't know how I knew it was coming, but I knew it was coming, you know? Didn't know it was coming a lot of the time.
I mean, yeah, I agree that the volume was loud, and I think that was just the particular theater that we were in. But I did enjoy that play on the volume that was intentionally built into the movie. I also noted that the first 1922 Nosferatu was called Nosferatu Symphony of Horror, which is fabulous. And, you know, they have a symphony.
Play along, right? Because it's silent film.
Yes. And this movie had an orchestra that created the sounds throughout the scenes. And one thing that was shown on the making of this 2024 one was that the actors were given clips of the audio to listen to before they were doing a scene. So it wasn't necessarily the music they were going to have on that scene, but it was to provide them with the tone of the scene they were doing.
Right, like a context.
Yes.
Like a musical context.
Yeah, and I thought that was incredibly powerful and
smart
and done well. Like, I thought, oh, this is how you captured it, nailed it.
Right.
Like, absolutely.
That worked, yeah.
Right?
Yep, I agree. It was good.
Yeah, it really set the atmosphere.
A lot of the artistic elements were done very well. I would not at all be surprised if it won awards.
Oh God, I hope so.
For stuff, because some of it seemed like it was absolutely top tier creative work.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Oh, absolutely. You were mentioning the lighting and the colors or lack of colors, and that was something I loved too. It was the sound contrast. And the shadows. Really, it was that play on the shadows.
Yeah, the shadows, the light.
And that I loved. And I thought all those things kind of wove together to really create that spooky effect, like you were saying, where you got throughout without expecting it, because it wasn't like you were going to get jump scares, and a lot of what you were looking at was slow moving. It was scenes that are really drawn out, but then this music that maybe is increasing, and then nothing's happening, but then something's happening, right? And you get it was a lot of, I guess, tension and anxiety, right? You're like, oh my God, what is about to go down?
Great job of building tension, but also also not, right? Like you mentioned, jump scare. It didn't really necessarily feel like jump scaring, but also having those frights unexpected, where there isn't really a building to the tension, because like you said, something else is sort of happening, and it's maybe not even all that fast, or it seems like it's more dramatic, because there are some of those types of scenes. So it's very clever in the way that it approaches different scares and scenes.
Yes, absolutely. Also to note, they used real candles.
Oh, that's cool.
And I saw that as well in the making of. And so there were lots of intense scenes with a ton of candles. And, you know, they talked about the difficulty in just managing that, but that it was intentionally decided to use real candles and real flames to give that lighting effect. And I thought, like, brilliant.
Very
and
clever.
Again, nailed it.
Yeah.
Job well done. Okay, last topic before we go back to the theater and see Nosferatu again. Casting. We have to talk about the actors.
Okay, you start. What'd you think?
Loved it. Brilliant. Nailed it. Excellent job. I'm obsessed with this movie. I think they captured it in a magnificent way. I think that they thought about every element of this film in modernizing it without losing its core values that originally
Like the
drew
spirit
people to
of
it.
Yeah.
And almost gave like homage to those things by doing it even better. And I thought the casting was that like top of the...
Who played the husband? Was that...
That was
It's not Henry Cavill, right?
No. I just looked up the actor's name. Is it Holt?
Oh, Nicholas
Holt.
Holt. Nicholas Holt. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great actor.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And his wife is it Lily Rose Depp? Is that her name? Johnny Depp's
I think so.
daughter. I think it's Lily Rose. I think.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But she's great. I mean, she did a great job.
And you have Willem Dafoe, who's always a treasure.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. That for me was like I want a poster of him with the fire behind him and his maniacal laughter. Like that scene, just like I wanted to scream in the theater and be like, yes, like the madness of vampires. It was so good.
It was good.
And he's such a great actor to like do that
really
too.
is,
Like
he's phenomenal.
No one else could have played that part. Like it was brilliant. I feel like who they picked and how they did it. Like they did such a good job.
Yeah, it's highly recommended.
5 million skulls and blood goblets out of all the blood goblets and skulls that exist.
Okay.
Definitely go see it.
Yeah. Check it out.
And I'll probably see it again because, you know, I love to see what my family's up to. All right. Thanks, creepy things.
See you next time.